We don't hear many good things about airlines these days, but I'm now going to tell you about the fastest growing airline in the history of commercial aviation. And chances are you've never heard of them. The airline is called Etihad, and they're based in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. And they've basically changed the business model of how airlines run. And in the process, they're getting just about everything right. And then when I tell you where they fly, you just might want to get on board. If you live in the U.S., you may not have heard of this airline before. It's called Etihad. It's not just the little airline that could, it's the airline that does.
We're based here in Abu Dhabi, which is the capital city of the United Arab Emirates. And from a geographic point of view, it's a crossroad to the world.
And being a true super hub has allowed Etihad to offer many nonstop flights from Abu Dhabi to major U.S. cities like New York, Washington, and Chicago, and international ports of call like Sydney, China, Japan, and the Middle East.
I think people sometimes forget that within 3 hours flying time of Abu Dhabi, we have the Gulf States, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, a population in excess of 1 billion people.
Staggering.
A great opportunity for an airline.
While Etihad's relatively small fleet, just over 70 airplanes, might best be described as sleek or modern, the rest of the flight experience almost feels like you've gone back in time to the good old days of air travel. As an American traveler, I get on one of your planes and my first reaction is, what just happened here? You're serving full meals. In coach, you're doing service every 30 minutes. This is not the US way.
We believe traveling should still be an experience. And whether you're in first, business, or economy, we value your money, and that is reflected in our service on board.
Etihad's training program includes style and image classes, something that most U.S. airlines no longer emphasize. Etihad, like other airlines, trains all crew members how to evacuate passengers. They even train them in firefighting techniques. I'm inside what's called the RFFT, the Real Firefighter Trainer. And what it is, it simulates what can happen on an onboard fire on an airplane. It could be in the lavatory, it could be the oven, it could be an overhead compartment. But one of the worst kind is right here. It's called an in-flight entertainment, IFE fire, and seconds count. And if you don't get to it right away, you lose the plane. Aren't you glad I was on board? With its base and only hub in Abu Dhabi, it is a model of connectivity. On just about every flight to Abu Dhabi, about 70% of the passengers aren't flying to the Emirates, they're flying through Abu Dhabi.
We want to be able to ensure that if you book out of Chicago or New York and you're coming over Abu Dhabi, we can feed you to the next city of your choice. And that may be flying with us from Abu Dhabi down to Sydney, but then with Virgin Australia to Cairns. And that's the way we build our network. And slowly but surely, Etihad is changing the way some of us have become conditioned to going from A to B. Are you going from New York to Bangkok? Most folks would fly JFK through Tokyo. Now, more and more are flying JFK through Abu Dhabi.